1 minute ago at court. 50 Cent named Justin Usher Quincy. Diddy's Blacklist exposed. The following account is based on verbatim federal courtroom testimony during the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, as reported by Inner City Press. All allegations are presented under oath, and all names, timelines, and incidents are cited as stated. Federal prosecutors began by laying out the core of the case: trafficking abuse, of power, coercion, and silent manipulation within the entertainment industry. A total of 5 lawsuits, 3 under federal jurisdiction, had been filed within 18 months, each tied to Combs by pattern and proximity. Among the plaintiffs, 1 former girlfriend, Cassie, 2 male assistants, 1 ex-security guard, and 1 minor at the time of the alleged events. Over 40 witnesses have been subpoenaed. Over 70 non-disclosure agreements have been referenced, many of them containing clauses banning discussion of personal experiences at private events. The prosecution highlighted 3 themes: access through fame, using celebrity status to gain intimate proximity to young artists; coercion by incentive, lavish gifts, travel mentorship opportunities, followed by silence enforcement; pattern of retaliation. Anyone who distanced themselves allegedly faced industry blacklisting or legal threats. The first name dropped under oath: Usher Raymond. According to 50 Cent's sworn testimony, Usher had lived with Diddy at a young age at a place known as Flavor Camp. Usher was 14, Puff was a grown man. 50 Cent stated, "We all knew about Flavor Camp. I ain't saying Usher told me anything directly, but we knew. The kid was there." 14. Puff was grown. Everyone whispered about it. This reference was backed by an old Howard Stern interview where Usher awkwardly admitted living with Diddy and waking up to fight over cereal. A clip from a live stream was also submitted where Diddy joked, "Me and Usher used to sleep together," then awkwardly laughed, following with, "No homo." Next came Fabulous. 50 testified about being present during the Drink Champs episode where Diddy pressured Fabulous on camera, "Why don't we party together?" Fabulous looked uncomfortable. 50 said, "That wasn't no joke. That was fear. Real fear." Fab shrank into his chair. He added that after the shoot, Diddy tried to corner Fabulous at an industry party, whispering, "Come up to the suite. I got a room upstairs." Fab reportedly told someone nearby, "I just want to go home." A social media post by Fabulous later alluded to an incident where he pretended to go to the bathroom and snuck out of a party at 7 a.m. Kevin Hart was the next name. In a live stream clip introduced by prosecutors, Diddy casually mentioned waking up with Usher. Kevin Hart on screen looked visibly disturbed, froze, looked away. 50 Cent testified, "That wasn't laughter. That was panic. That's a man praying he doesn't get dragged into something." Justin Bieber was the first name that made the gallery gasp. 50 said, "This one gon' hurt y'all." But Puff had Justin around young, too young, and people knew. A video clip was entered into evidence, Diddy saying, "I don't have legal guardianship over him, but for the next 48 hours he's with me." 50 continued, "That ain't music mentorship at 2 a.m. in Miami. I'm telling you. People in his camp said things, whispered things. That wasn't normal." The courtroom was silent. Then came YK Osiris. He blew up overnight. Diddy came around. Then the boy changed. 50 testified Puff took him to Jamaica. Flashed gifts, took pictures. Osiris came back, looked different. The light was gone. The prosecution introduced an Instagram live clip where Osiris was crying, saying, "Nobody knows what happens behind these doors." 50 concluded, "You think that's random? That's what happens when you get pulled in, then tossed." Ja Rule appeared next. Gene Deal Diddy's former bodyguard had told a story in prior interviews. Now it was under oath. Diddy and Ja flew to North Carolina, checked into a suite. Gene was posted at the door. Minutes later, Ja Rule opened it, looked out and said, "Yo, you might not want to come in here. It's freaky tonight." 50 clarified he didn't mean candles and bubble baths. He meant whatever was going on in there wasn't just two guys talking. Gene reportedly had to carry bags from an adult bookstore, racks of toys. 50. This ain't about sexuality. This about power, about what money makes people do. Then came the moment. He pulled out a folded sheet. This ain't a hit list, he said. It's a truth list. The first names: Usher, Raymond Fabulous, Kevin Hart, Justin Bieber, YK, Osiris, Ja Rule. This is who I know, who I heard, who I believe. This is who Puff got close to. This is how he moves. The prosecution asked, "Are you prepared to name everyone on the list?" 50 looked directly at Diddy. "Oh yeah," he said. "This just the warm-up." The courtroom was still holding its breath. 50 Cent leaned back. Eyes locked on Diddy. His voice was steady. "You want names," he said. "Let's talk about Bow Wow." According to 50, Bow Wow was one of the youngest stars Diddy ever brought around the scene. That boy was like, 13, 14. He didn't grow up with Puff, but you'd think he did the way Puff kept him close for a minute. He paused. "I remember a party, East Hampton, summer. Bow Wow walked in with Jermaine Dupri. 10 minutes later, Puff told security, 'I'll take it from here.'" Side. Prosecutors asked, "Do you believe Bow Wow was ever in danger?" 50 didn't answer immediately. "I think he saw things he didn't want to see, and then got pulled away before it got worse. He was lucky." Then he moved on to Trey Songz. Trey had that bad boy look. Puff liked that. Said it reminded him of himself back in the day. "I watched him bring Trey around like a new toy." One night 50 said he got a call. "Yo, Trey's locked in a room. Nobody's answering. Diddy's suite." 50 didn't say who made the call, but he described arriving and seeing Trey walk out later. Shirt, half off, face blank. That man didn't speak for 2 days after. Then came a familiar name again, Kevin Hart. 50 elaborated. "You know why Kev laughs so hard? Because silence scares him. That live stream with Puff, he wasn't acting. That was a man remembering too much." He brought up another name, Meek Mill. "That one shocked me. Thought he'd know better. But I saw the pattern. Puff offered him a deal. Come to the Bahamas, just us. Talk strategy. Next thing I know, Meek's gone for 4 days. No phone, no posts. When Meek returned, 50 claimed he didn't talk about it, just said Puff different, and not in a good way. Then a name not even the prosecutors expected: Bryson Tiller. Quiet, reserved, Christian. He came in clean, came out confused. According to 50, Diddy reached out to Tiller during his debut album's success, promised mentorship, said he could make him a legend overnight. They met. Studio sessions turned to yacht parties. Next thing, Tiller canceled 3 shows, no explanation. "I know what that means," 50 said. He wanted out. He looked at the jury. Ever seen someone try to climb out of quicksand in silence? He turned to the judge. "I'm not done." Prosecutors nodded. "Continue." "There's a group," 50 said, "not just artists, assistants, stylists, security, folks who carry the phones, sign the NDAs. They're the real witnesses." He called it the Whisper Network. A group of insiders who knew how Puff moved, knew the protocols, knew who entered what room and didn't come back the same. 50 said they know when the party becomes the trap. He talked about a specific assistant unnamed for protection. She worked for Diddy for 5 years, left abruptly. She used to tell people, "It's not the sex, it's the silence." Then she disappeared, moved states, deleted socials, changed number. She was scared, 50 said. Still is. Next came Chris Brown. I ain't saying Chris was touched. I'm saying Chris got pulled, then backed off. According to 50, Diddy tried to loop Chris into a production label deal, offered him houses, jets, girls, then started calling him for private retreats. Chris stopped answering. You notice that? Then he dropped another shock. Ever wonder why Drake never worked with Diddy again? Courtroom leaned in. There was a party, private, hosted by Puff. Drake left halfway, never looked back. He raised a brow. I ain't saying what happened. I'm saying what didn't. No collabs, no shoutouts, just silence. Then came the darker turn. 50 referenced an artist only by initials MS. He said MS was on fire until one night changed everything. He showed up clean, left broken. I found him days later, silent, paranoid, off the grid. He wouldn't name him, he's not ready. But 50 stared hard at Diddy. You know who I mean. He asked the court, why do young black artists keep falling apart after meeting this man? He opened the list again. Added Bo, Wow, Trey Songz, Meek Mill, Bryson Tiller, Chris Brown, Drake MS. He closed the sheet. I told you. This ain't a hit list, it's a truth map. The judge called recess. But the gallery didn't move. This wasn't just testimony. It was a reckoning. Recess ended. But the silence never left the room. 50 Cent stepped back up. This time with a different tone. Not just names, structures, power. A machine built to keep secrets. He looked to the jury. Y'all ever heard of house events? Prosecutors leaned forward. That's what Puff called them. House events. Invite only. No phones, no PR, no press, just vibes. He paused. And rules. According to 50, these gatherings were Diddy's inner sanctum. Not the yacht parties, not the strip clubs, the homes. LA, Miami, New York, one in the Bahamas. He'd fly people in, tell them it's a creative weekend. But it wasn't about music. It was about compliance. Compliance. 50 nodded. Yeah. Who says yes? Who freezes? Who looks away? That's what he wanted to know. The prosecutors asked, what happened at those events? I wasn't in every room. But I know what I saw. He described the layout. Main floor with food, drinks, music. Cameras hidden but always rolling. Upstairs rooms, guest rooms, soundproofed. I walked up once, opened the wrong door, saw an artist I knew with tears in his eyes, sitting on the edge of the bed, naked. Puff was just staring at him. He slammed the door, never brought it up, because I knew it wasn't safe. Then he said a name the courtroom wasn't ready for. Quincy, as in Quincy Brown, Diddy's stepson. Look, I ain't saying Quincy accused anyone. I'm saying the man lived in that house, saw it all, and stayed quiet. He mentioned an old video. Go back to the clip where Puff tells Quincy on live camera, I used to wake up with Usher, and you. Look at Quincy's face. He let the silence hang. It's the silence of somebody who's survived something. Prosecutors asked about other staff, the chefs, the drivers, the house managers. They know, but they signed papers. He added, you don't speak against Puff and keep your career. He then pivoted to the bigger game. The NDAs weren't just to keep quiet, they were currency. Puff would say, you want the deal, sign here first. He pulled out another document. This is a copy, from an ex-bodyguard. It says in bold, you agree to never disclose any personal sexual or behavioral activity witnessed while employed by Mr. Combs. He added, this is standard. He looked at the judge. I've seen at least 20 just like it. He mentioned 3 names, an ex-housekeeper, a driver, a personal assistant. All left, all vanished. Some moved out the country. One got paid 6 figures to disappear. He tapped the list again. Why you think the list ain't longer, they scared. He then introduced a moment no one expected. There's a clip. Y'all never seen it, never aired. He handed a USB to the bailiff. It's from 2016. Diddy at a party, surrounded by teens. One of them says, I just turned 18. Puff laughs and says, close enough. The courtroom went stiff. 50 added, that's what this is. Almost legal, just old enough, just scared enough. He named another victim, an R&B singer from Atlanta. Initials AB. Bright, talented, gone. One house event, one weekend. He changed. He told the court, you won't find police reports. You'll find therapists. You'll find rehab stays. You'll find silence. Then came the legal shell. He explained that Puff's empire wasn't just music. It was legal firewalls. shell companies, management firms. You don't sue Puff. You sue a Delaware LLC that no longer exists. He pulled another sheet. Bad Boy Touring, Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, Puff Daddy Inc., Love Records. You name it. One man. Dozens of shields. The prosecutors asked, why are you revealing all this now? Because the truth don't need a timeline. It just needs a crack. He stared forward. And this is the crack. He closed. This ain't about gossip. This is about a system, a culture of silence, a fortress of fear. And I'm here to knock on the gate. He added new names to the list. Quincy Brown, A.B. 3 unnamed staff members the judge called end of day, and no one looked away. The next morning the courthouse was surrounded, not by protesters, by black SUVs, unmarked cars, paparazzi, and silence. Inside 50 Cent returned to the stand. Prosecutors asked, do you feel threatened by sharing this? He didn't blink. I've been threatened. This ain't new. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone. Yesterday after court I got 17 missed calls, 8 unknown numbers, 3 texts from people I ain't heard from in years. One said, you better stop. Another said, you next. He scrolled and held it up. Want to know what that means? It means I hit a nerve. The prosecution nodded. Let's talk about the machine. 50 adjusted the mic. There's Puff. And then there's the circle. He defined the circle as lawyers who write the silence, managers who scout the talent, stylists who prep them, event organizers who plan the scene, PR teams who clean the mess. It's not one man, it's a net. You pull one thread, they all move. He gave the example of a stylist. She came to me, said she once prepped a 19-year-old singer for an awards after-party. Puff told her, make sure he's comfortable, he's staying after. She never worked again. Then came the ex-lawyer, 2019. Dude called me, said he was quitting the industry, couldn't unsee what he saw, said he once drafted a contract with a clause that said, consent inferred upon entry. The courtroom gasped. 50 nodded. Yeah, that's what they doing. Making people think they agreed to it by walking in. He brought up the money trail. Ever wonder how this stayed quiet? Look at the money. Puff donates, sponsors, pays for tables, hosts galas. That's not generosity, that's protection. He paused. Every time something leaks, a donation drops. That's the pattern. He then said a name no one expected, Jaden Smith. The gallery leaned forward. Let me be clear. I ain't saying Jaden accused anybody. I'm saying he was there. 2015. Puff threw a private screening party. Jaden was seen arriving alone. 15 minutes later, Puff tweeted, "The future is here." He let that hang. That boy didn't tweet for 3 days after. He moved on. Tyga. Another one. Invited to Diddy's compound after a shoot. Next day canceled 3 press interviews. Stayed off socials a week. Then he referenced a lesser-known name, ZG, a dancer from a televised competition. Bright. Energetic. Got invited to a choreography retreat. Never danced again. Quit. Deleted every account. He turned to the judge. How many patterns you gotta see before it's a system? He introduced a new chart. Vertical axis, name. Horizontal axis, time of exposure. Each dot a person, each line an NDA or career break. He tapped a cluster. 2014, biggest spike. That's when the heat should have started. Instead it got buried. He paused. I'm here to unbury it. He added more names. Jaden Smith, Tyga, ZG, ex-stylist, ex-entertainment lawyer. He told the court, this isn't a scandal, this is an operation. Prosecutors asked, and what do you want the outcome to be? Not revenge, not ratings, just recognition, truth. He ended the day with one line, if the industry won't protect them, maybe the court will. The judge adjourned, but nobody stood up. Day 5. The air felt thick. The courtroom filled faster than usual. Reporters, lawyers, industry reps, even off-duty celebrities trying to blend in. 50 Cent walked in like it was routine, like it didn't weigh on him, like what he was about to say hadn't kept half the music industry up all night. He sat, looked around, then leaned forward like he was letting everyone in on the real game. You ever wonder why the same artists keep orbiting Puff, even after all the rumors, the stories, the smoke he didn't wait? Because they owe him, and it's not just about money, it's about moments. He gave them something they can't repay: exposure cosigns that first hit that festival slot. But every gift comes with a thread. The prosecution pressed. Explain the nature of the debt. He helps them early, pays for videos, gets them booked, then waits. One day the phone rings. You owe a visit, a favor, a silence. He dropped the first name, French Montana. Puff got him that Ciroc endorsement, that bad boy feature. But it wasn't free. Every favor meant something later. A party invite that wasn't optional, a post, a denial. French knew. But what could he say? He shifted to another figure. There's a southern rapper. Real name not important. Known. Hot for a minute. Then off the radar, he paused. Because he said no. No to what the prosecutor asked. To more than just a party, to a pattern. The artist didn't disappear instantly. First it was a delay on a project, then dropped tour support. Then blogs stopped writing. DJs stopped spinning. He ghosted, not by choice. 50 nodded toward a composite sketch hung near the gallery. He's not gone, just erased. Then he called out a year, 2017. That's when Puff changed tactics. Social media got louder, cameras too common. He stopped calling them parties. Now they were meetings. Still invite only, still NDAs, but quieter. He described one of these meetings. Calabasas Mansion, 8 guests, 3 under 21, none with management. NDAs at the gate, liquor at the door, pressure upstairs. He said one female artist bolted before midnight. She called her label, shaking. Said she felt trapped, never went back, her next EP canceled. That same artist later posted online, never trade your silence for access. Deleted within the hour. 50 turned the spotlight to the unseen figures. You think Puff plans this alone? No, he's got handlers, recruiters, suits that don't speak unless they're giving instructions. He named one DR. This guy runs the board. He don't write music. He writes who gets in the room, who stays, who gets seen with Puff. He's the firewall. You challenge him, you vanish. Then came a name nobody expected: Mary J. Blige. He raised his hands. I ain't accusing Mary, I'm saying she knows. She saw the before and after. Bad boy 94 to now. She told someone once. That ain't the boy I knew back then. He tapped the microphone. But she never said it publicly. Then the tape. Y'all heard about it. Most haven't seen it. It's locked down, but it exists. Footage from 3 house events. Faces blurred, but voices clear. One clip Puff whispers to a young artist, "You belong to me tonight." 50 paused. I heard that voice once. I don't forget things like that. The judge asked if the drive had been submitted to court. Not yet. People scared. But it's moving. Then came a young producer, known for beats behind a major girl group. Turned down a party. Next week project pulled, credits stripped, pay stopped. 50 listed what happens next. Canceled shows, scrubbed names, locked accounts, managers walk. He called it career exile. Puff don't need to ruin you publicly. He just erases you, like you never mattered. He raised his eyes toward the jury. Some of y'all in this room know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all lived it, or watched it happen. He added names: French Montana DR, handler unnamed southern rapper Mary J. Blige, witness chart, producer victim, unreleased female artist. He stood. Held the page. This part of the industry. It ain't written in contracts, but it's real. And once you see it, you don't unsee it. You feel it in the silence. In who's not in the room anymore. He pointed toward the gallery. And the silence ain't empty. It's full of stories no one dared to tell until now, court recessed. Not a whisper, not a blink, just the weight of truth settling into people's bones. Day 6. Final testimony. The courtroom was at capacity. People who hadn't shown up all week now stood along the back wall, phones off, eyes forward. The air was tight. Everyone knew this wasn't just another witness statement. This was the part where everything cracked. 50 Cent didn't carry any documents today, just the same folded sheet from before. He took his place and asked to remain standing. "I told y'all I was gonna name names," he said, "but that ain't the real reason I'm here." He unfolded the list but didn't read it. Instead, he stared at it. "You ever hold a list of people who trusted you, who confided in you? Some of them asked me not to speak, others begged me to say something, and a few, they gone." He raised his eyes. "This list ain't just names, it's the cost." He turned to the prosecution. "You want proof, start with the silence, the NDAs, the breakdowns, the sudden disappearances. This industry got more unspoken trauma than it has Grammys, and y'all wonder why people fade." He then read the full list again, name by name slowly, then added 5 more. New names, not on record yet, but they watching, they waiting. Some in therapy, some in hiding, one in recovery. He paused. "You know what it's like to have your entire career tied to someone who scares you, who gave you your first check, your first tour, your first private flight. That's not mentorship. That's leverage." He stepped closer to the jury. "You want to know what abuse looks like in this business? It looks like silence. It looks like skipped interviews, deleted posts, canceled appearances. It looks like grown men laughing off things that keep them up at night." He described one artist unnamed who reached out after the second day of testimony. The man hadn't done a show in 3 years. Said he couldn't be in front of cameras anymore. Said every time he walked into a studio he felt sick. "You think that's just nerves? Nah, that's memory." He turned back to the judge. "I'm not saying Diddy broke all these people. I'm saying he created a system that let it happen. That made it normal. That punished anyone who said no." He pointed to the list. "There's singers on here, rappers, dancers, engineers, security, people behind the scenes. Some got money, some got broken, some still hoping for a way out." The prosecution asked, "Do you fear retaliation for this testimony?" "I don't fear it. I expect it." He looked toward the gallery. Puff ain't the only one watching this trial. His friends are, his lawyers, his investors. They're already making calls, already scrubbing names. I've seen the strategy before. Deny, delay, destroy. He then told a story. Miami 2018, a private yacht. 10 guests. 2 security guards. Puff hosted. No phones, no staff. 50 wasn't invited, but got a call from someone who left mid-cruise. She said it wasn't a party, it was a ritual. She used that word, ritual. Said she felt like property. Said the people there didn't look at her like a person. He exhaled. She disappeared a week later, moved to Belize. No socials, new name. He added her initials to the list. "Y'all don't understand. This thing got tentacles. It ain't just hip-hop, it's Hollywood, fashion, tech. There's people in boardrooms who know this man's habits and still shook his hand last week." He mentioned an email, sent by an unnamed talent agency. It warned artists to remain neutral and avoid unnecessary public alignments. That's what they mean by business. Stay silent. Don't choose sides. Don't ruin the bag. He raised his voice. But what about the people who got no bag left? Who lost everything for saying no, or saying too much, or saying nothing at all when it wasn't their turn? He returned to the stand, for the final time. "I've seen too much. I held it in too long. Not because I was scared, but because I was calculating. You only get one shot to break this wall. And I wasn't about to miss." He looked to the media section. "Y'all better print every word, not just the names, the system, the silence, the patterns." He looked to the judge. "This isn't just testimony. It's evidence of what happens when power grows unchecked. when money becomes a shield, when NDAs become handcuffs. Then the final moment. He pulled out a thumb drive. I can't tell you what's on this. Not here, not yet. But when it drops, y'all gonna understand why this list is just the beginning. He placed it on the witness desk. The judge asked, "Do you have anything else you'd like to say to the court?" 50 paused, looked around. Yeah, one last thing. He took a breath. To every artist watching this, every dancer, every producer, every assistant who thought nobody noticed, we did, I did, and now they do too. He stepped down. Outside, cameras exploded, reporters yelled his name, fans held up their phones. But he didn't say a word. He walked past the press line, past the guards, past the flashing lights. One sentence left his mouth as he climbed into the SUV. They're not ready for what's next. The door closed, and the wall that had stood for decades, it was cracking. The ripple started instantly. News outlets that once promoted Puff's ventures now ran exposés. A late-night host opened his monologue with, "When the party ends, the lawsuits begin." Major record labels held closed-door meetings. Internally, they called it containment. At a university in Atlanta, a student-led forum titled "The Cost of Sound" drew over 400 attendees. A professor revised his ethics syllabus overnight. A panel of survivors, unnamed but referenced, agreed to appear behind silhouettes on livestream. Independent filmmakers announced a docuseries. Streaming rights were already being negotiated. Former insiders began leaking production memos, travel receipts, studio rosters. A cultural forensics was underway. Someone reopened a missing persons case from 2015. A background dancer whose parents never stopped asking. Insurance companies started reassessing liability policies for artist-backed events. Contracts were rewritten. Brands quietly enforced moral clauses that had sat unused for decades. At an awards show the next month, one pop star showed up in all black. No statement, no song, just a brooch shaped like a lock cracked in the middle. TikTok flooded with explainers, timeline breakdowns, AI voice reenactments of courtroom moments. Kids who weren't even born during Bad Boy's prime now knew names, patterns, warning signs. A new generation learning not just what happened but what enabled it. And somewhere in LA, a man who once owned every room now sat in a house with curtains drawn. A security team paid double, a PR firm working overtime, a legal team scrambling for ground. The industry hadn't turned on him overnight. It just stopped speaking for him. Because the wall, it wasn't just cracked now, it was collapsing. And somewhere in LA, a man who once owned every room now sat in a house with curtains drawn, a security team paid double, a PR firm working overtime, a legal team scrambling for ground. The industry hadn't turned on him overnight. It just stopped speaking for him. Because the wall, it wasn't just cracked now, it was collapsing. And in the space left behind, there wasn't peace. There was noise, scrambling, realignment. The powerful retreated behind lawyers. The silent began to choose sides, and the industry, it started feeding on itself. For every bridge burned, another was quietly being built. New voices emerged, old ones returned. And in boardrooms, once protected by fear, someone finally asked, "What if the next 50 doesn't stay quiet?" Because the damage wasn't just reputational, it was structural. It was in the contracts, the culture, the way people had learned to look away. And the reckoning wasn't coming, it had already arrived.